5:12 local time, Northern Arabian Sea. Inside the Combat Information Center of a U.S. Navy aircraft carrier, everything looks routine. Green radar sweeps move smoothly across the screens. Merchant vessels are scattered along the horizon. Standard patrol patterns, nothing out of place. Then one console lights up. A radar operator leans in. New contact, range 92 nautical miles. Bearing 041, low altitude. A second blip appears beside it, then a third. 3 aircraft, tight formation, fast. The watch supervisor immediately flags the contacts, and within seconds, the large tactical display on the CIC wall shows 3 unknown air tracks moving steadily toward the carrier strike group. Their speed starts climbing. 400 knots, 450, 500. Someone checks the transponder codes. Nothing, no identification, no filed route, no radio traffic, just silence. The tactical action officer stays calm. Track them! The spy radar network widens its scan and locks onto the approaching aircraft. Their altitude drops again, now below 3,000 feet, low enough to blend into sea clutter. That is not normal. Inside the CIC, nobody panics, but the mood changes instantly. This is exactly the kind of pattern every watch team is trained to catch. 3 aircraft in close formation, no transponders, closing quickly on a U.S. carrier strike group. The operations officer studies the radar signatures. Run identification. Electronic sensors begin comparing heat patterns, radar returns, and airframe shapes against known aircraft profiles. It takes only seconds. The first result appears. MiG-29 Fulcrum. The radar operator looks up. Iranian. But the other 2 returns do not match. Another analyst zooms in on the thermal data. Different engine signature. Longer fuselage. Variable sweep wing shape. Second aircraft. Possible F-14 Tomcat. A brief pause follows. Iran is the only country still operating them. Then the third identification comes through. Large radar cross-section. Twin engine strike platform. Su-24. 3 different aircraft. 3 different roles. Flying together. The tactical officer gives a slow nod. This is not a routine patrol. Out on the carrier's flight deck, sailors move between parked aircraft, getting ready for the morning flight cycle. The sea is calm. The sky is pale blue, streaked with thin clouds. None of them can see the jets yet. But inside the ship, the picture has already changed. Distance, 80 nautical miles. The Iranian aircraft descend again. Altitude, 2,000 feet. Speed, Mach 0.9. Naval aviators know that profile well. Low altitude, high speed, minimal radar exposure. A classic maritime approach. The communications officer switches to the emergency frequency. Unidentified aircraft approaching United States naval forces in international waters. You are entering a monitored zone. Maintain safe distance immediately. The message goes out across multiple bands, military, civilian, and international guard. No response. The 3 aircraft continue forward. Inside the CIC, the strike groups escorting destroyers begin adjusting their posture. Their Aegis radars widen their search sectors. Data moves instantly across the fleet network. Every ship now sees the same 3 blips. One cruiser starts calculating intercept solutions. A nearby destroyer powers up its fire control radar. Not aggressive, just prepared. Back on the carrier, a second warning is transmitted. Unidentified aircraft alter course immediately. Silence again. Distance, 65 nautical miles. That number matters. Beyond 50 nautical miles, many long-range air-to-air weapons are already within reach. The tactical officer watches the distance countdown tick lower. No course change from the Iranian formation. No climb, no radio contact, only speed. Then the electronic warfare station speaks. New radar emission detected. Every eye in the CIC turns toward the console. The signal is narrow and focused, not a search radar, a targeting radar. One of the Iranian aircraft has changed modes. Search to track. In aviation, that means only one thing, a fire control radar lock. The radar operator confirms it. Contact Bravo. Iranian F-14 radar active. On the tactical display, the symbol beside the aircraft changes color. The carrier strike group has just been painted by a targeting radar, and the 3 jets are still closing. 5:16 local time. Distance 52 nautical miles. Inside the carrier's Combat Information Center, the 3 aircraft symbols continue sliding across the display. Their speed holds just under Mach 1. Their altitude drops again, now barely 1,200 feet above the water. Sea skimming. The kind of flight profile designed to disappear inside radar clutter. The tactical officer keeps his voice steady. Confirm radar emissions. The electronic warfare operator checks the signal again. Confirmed, fire control radar active. The source is the Iranian F-14 Tomcat, flying slightly behind the lead aircraft. Now the formation makes sense. The MiG-29 leads the approach, fast and agile, built for air-to-air combat. Behind it, the Tomcat holds a slightly higher position, its radar beam projecting forward in a narrow cone, tracking and guiding while watching the carrier strike group. Trailing the formation, the Su-24 strike aircraft flies heavier and lower, hugging the sea. 3 aircraft, 3 separate roles: escort, targeting platform, strike aircraft. The tactical officer studies the geometry on the screen. They are forming an engagement corridor. Outside, the Arabian Sea still looks calm. The carrier cuts through the deep blue water at 20 knots, its escorts holding a defensive ring several miles out. But across the strike group's network, every radar in the fleet is fixed on the same 3 aircraft. Aegis systems aboard the destroyers track them continuously. Altitude, speed, heading, every movement recorded. On the carrier's bridge, the air defense commander listens to the report coming up from CIC. 3 Iranian aircraft approaching in coordinated formation, distance 50 miles and closing. A short pause. Launch the intercept. Below, on the flight deck, 2 FA-18 Super Hornets sitting alert suddenly come to life. Engines ignite with a roar. Deck crews move instantly. Yellow shirts signal. Red shirts pull the chocks clear. Steam begins rising from the catapult track. Inside the cockpits, the pilots finish their checks in seconds. They have already heard the warning over the ship's internal network. Unknown aircraft approaching fast. Possible threat. The catapult officer drops his hand. The first Hornet is hurled into the morning sky in a violent burst of steam and flame. Seconds later, the second follows. Both jets turn immediately toward the threat axis. But they still need altitude. And they still need time. Back inside CIC, the radar picture tightens. Distance, 48 nautical miles. The Iranian formation holds steady. No hesitation, no change in course. Then the electronic warfare console lights up again. A new spike. The operator zooms in on the radar emissions. The Tomcat's radar beam tightens, its power output rising. This is no longer simple tracking. This is preparation for weapons guidance. Another officer shifts attention to the MiG-29. The fulcrum begins a slight move to the left. On the display, the lead jet adjusts its position, opening space, creating a clear corridor. Behind it, the Su-24 drops even lower. Altitude, now just 800 feet above the ocean. The strike bomber is lining up. The tactical officer speaks quietly, but everyone hears it. That bomber is setting up for an attack run. The Su-24 isn't built for air-to-air combat. It's designed for maritime strikes, carrying heavy anti-ship missiles, payloads capable of severely damaging large vessels from long range. Inside the CIC, the countdown continues. Time to intercept, 5 minutes. Time to enter missile engagement range, less than 2. On another console, one of the escorting destroyers activates its fire control radar. The Aegis system begins calculating intercept solutions automatically. Standard missile batteries unlock, ready but still waiting. The rules are clear. No engagement unless the threat is unmistakable. Then the electronic warfare station calls out again, louder this time. Radar spike confirmed. Every eye turns. The Tomcat's radar shifts modes once more. This time it locks onto a single target. The aircraft carrier. Across multiple screens in the CIC, warning indicators flash simultaneously. Target lock detected. The Iranian F-14 now has a firing solution. Distance, 42 nautical miles. For a long-range missile, that's more than enough. One officer exhales slowly. They're committing. Outside, nothing seems different. The sea is still calm, the horizon unchanged. But 40 miles away, 3 aircraft are flying directly toward one of the most powerful naval forces in the world, and one of them has just armed its weapons system. Seconds later, confirmation comes. The targeting radar stabilizes. Lock sustained. The weapons officer studies the display, then says quietly in a tone everyone understands, "Launch parameters achievable." The Tomcat holds the lock. 3 seconds, 4, 5. Then a sudden flash on the radar scope. Missile launch, 5:17 local time. Inside the CIC, the radar operator sees it first. A new contact appears on the tactical screen. Small, fast, accelerating. The symbol flashes red. For half a second, the room goes completely still. Then the tactical officer responds. Confirm track. Another console locks onto it instantly. Speed climbing past Make 2, low altitude, heading directly toward the carrier strike group. Confirmed, 1 inbound missile. On the large display, a track line stretches from the Iranian F-14 toward the fleet. Estimated time to intercept, 90 seconds. That's the reality now. 90 seconds from launch to impact. The Air Defense Commander doesn't hesitate. Engage defensive systems. Across the strike group, the response begins immediately. On board an escorting Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, the Aegis combat system switches from tracking to engagement mode. The SPY radar narrows its focus, locking tightly onto the incoming missile. Every movement is tracked in real time. Speed, trajectory, flight profile. A firing solution is ready, but the captain waits, because something else happens first. Inside the carrier's electronic warfare station, another alarm activates. EW systems go live. Operators begin transmitting powerful electronic signals into the sky, an invisible barrier between the fleet and the incoming threat. The goal isn't destruction. Not yet. The goal is confusion. 40 nautical miles away, the missile races forward, but it doesn't fly blindly. It depends on radar guidance. The Iranian F-14 maintains its lock, feeding data to the missile as it closes in. At least, that's the plan. Inside the Tomcat cockpit, the pilot watches the guidance display. Everything should be stable, but suddenly the data flickers. The signal weakens, then shifts. The pilot frowns. Something is interfering. Back with the strike group, electronic warfare intensifies. Multiple ships begin broadcasting simultaneously. A coordinated wave of electromagnetic interference spreads across the sky. The missile starts receiving conflicting signals. Instead of one clear target, it detects many. False echoes, phantom ships, distorted reflections. Its guidance system tries to correct, but each correction leads to more confusion. Inside the CIC, the radar operator watches closely. Missile losing stability. The tactical officer leans forward. Distance, 30 miles. The missile should be tracking straight. Instead, its path begins to drift. First slightly, then more noticeably. Electronic warfare is working exactly as intended, breaking the lock. High above the ocean, the two FA-18 Super Hornets launched earlier are climbing hard toward the threat. Their radars sweep forward. The pilots already know. Missile launch confirmed. They push faster, closing the distance. Back in the CIC, the missile struggles. The signal flickers again. The radar operator points. It's searching. That means the missile has lost its primary lock. Now its onboard seeker is trying to find any valid target, but the airspace ahead is saturated with interference. The missile banks left, then right, trying to reacquire. Each scan dissolves into noise. Distance, 20 miles. Still no stable lock. Inside the F-14, the pilot attempts to maintain guidance, but the signal is overwhelmed. The radar beam breaks apart. The missile is now effectively blind. Back in the CIC, the tactical officer asks, "Status?" The radar operator shakes his head. No stable acquisition. Seconds later, the missile drifts completely off course. Its seeker scans empty ocean. The carrier strike group remains hidden behind a wall of electronic distortion. The missile continues forward, but no longer toward its target. Finally, at extreme range, it loses all guidance. Its trajectory curves downward. The radar track fades, then disappears. Impact, harmlessly into the sea. Inside the CIC, there's no celebration, no cheers, just calm confirmation. Missile splash. One threat neutralized. But the situation isn't over. 40 miles away, the three-aircraft formation is still advancing. And now, American fighters are closing in. 5:19 local time. The missile is gone. Its track vanished moments ago. But inside the Combat Information Center, the tension remains. Distance, 34 nautical miles. Speed, Mach 0.92. Formation intact. The MiG-29 still leads, cutting low across the ocean surface. Behind it, the F-14 maintains its radar beam, though its lock is weaker under heavy electronic interference. Trailing the formation, the Su-24 continues hugging the water. Altitude, 700 feet. Still approaching. The tactical officer studies the geometry closely. They're still committed. And even without a successful missile attempt, the Su-24 remains a serious factor. If it closes the distance, it could still deploy anti-ship weapons. Inside the CIC, the intercept timer keeps counting down. Then a new voice cuts in over the air defense channel. Viper 1, radar contact. The first FA-18 Super Hornet has reached the area, cruising at 30,000 feet above the ocean. The pilot levels the aircraft and brings the radar online. 3 contacts appear instantly. Confirmed. 3 bandits. The voice is steady, professional. Seconds later, the second Super Hornet arrives. And just like that, the balance in the sky begins to shift. Back within the strike group, the destroyers maintain continuous radar tracking on all 3 aircraft. Electronic warfare systems keep flooding the airspace with interference. But now, the real pressure is coming from above. The American fighters begin a rapid descent. Altitude, 20,000 feet. Speed, Mach 1.1, closing fast. Inside the MiG-29 cockpit, a sudden sharp tone cuts through the pilot's headset. The radar warning receiver is screaming. He checks the display, a radar lock, not from the carrier, from above. American fighters. The pilot adjusts slightly to the right, trying to locate the threat. Moments later, the F-14 crew gets the same warning. 2 separate radar locks. High altitude, fast approach. That means one thing. The interceptors are already within engagement range. Inside the Super Hornet cockpit, the pilot calls out, "Range, 30 miles." On his display, the three aircraft are crystal clear. MiG-29, F-14, Su-24, tight formation. He locks onto the MiG-29 first. The targeting system stabilizes immediately. The fire control computer calculates a perfect solution, but he doesn't fire. Not yet, because the mission isn't to destroy, it's to stop the attack. Back in the carrier's CIC, the radar operator watches everything unfold in real time. The geometry shifts quickly. Now the Iranian formation faces two American fighters above and an entire carrier strike group below. The tactical officer tracks the numbers. Distance to carrier, 28 miles. At that range, the Su-24 would only need seconds to release its payload. But now the situation has changed. The Iranian pilots have a new problem. American fighters are directly overhead. Inside the MiG-29 cockpit, the pilot checks his warning display again. 2 locks, strong, stable. American missiles could reach him long before he ever gets close to the carrier. Above him, the Super Hornet pilot tightens his turn and descends further. He slides into position just off the MiG's left side, close enough to be seen, close enough to send a message. No weapons fired, just presence. The second Hornet angles toward the F-14, mirroring the move. Now both American fighters hold the high ground. For a few seconds, the Su-24 continues forward. Then its pilot sees it too. 2 radar locks, both American. At that moment, the situation becomes clear to the Iranian pilots. The attack corridor they were building is gone. Instead of approaching an exposed target, they've flown straight into a layered defense. Destroyers tracking from below, electronic interference disrupting their systems, and fighters controlling the airspace above. Inside the CIC, the tactical officer says quietly, "They're boxed in." The display confirms it. 3 aircraft, 2 interceptors, an entire strike group below. For the first time since it began, the Iranian formation hesitates. Their speed starts to drop. Altitude increases slightly. Subtle changes, but unmistakable. Inside the CIC, everyone understands what it means. The Iranian pilots have realized something important. The closer they got, the more data was being collected. Radar signatures, communication patterns, electronic emissions. What looked like an attack approach has turned into something else entirely. A controlled observation. And now, they're inside it. 5:23 local time. Altitude, 18,000 feet. The 2 Super Hornets hold position above the formation like silent shadows. Below, the MiG-29 shifts course slightly, wings rocking as the pilot scans the sky. The radar warning tone continues, steady, unbroken, American lock. It hasn't faded, it hasn't weakened, it's deliberate. 30 miles away, the carrier continues moving through calm water. From the outside, nothing seems unusual, just ships cutting through open sea. But the invisible network surrounding them is fully active. Every radar beam, every signal, every maneuver, all of it feeds into the CIC. On the tactical display, the full picture is clear. 3 Iranian aircraft, 2 American fighters, 4 escort ships, 1 carrier, everything connected. The tactical officer watches closely. They're slowing. The radar operator confirms. Speed dropping from Mach 0.92 to 0.78. Altitude slowly increasing. The Su-24 is the first to break its attack profile. Its nose lifts slightly as it climbs. That alone says enough. Strike aircraft don't climb unless the attack is no longer viable. High above, the lead Super Hornet pilot monitors everything through his helmet display. His radar remains locked onto the MiG-29. Weapons ready. One command would launch an AIM-120 AMRAAM at extreme speed. But he doesn't press it. Instead, he holds the lock, just long enough to make the message clear. Inside the MiG-29 cockpit, the pilot checks his instruments again. 2 American fighters overhead, within range. Behind him, the F-14 tries to re-establish control of the situation. Its powerful radar sweeps the sky once more, attempting to lock onto the carrier. But the signal breaks apart almost instantly. Electronic interference still dominates the airspace. No clear target. The radar operator in the Tomcat mutters quietly over the intercom. They can't guide another missile. They can't see through the noise. And for the first time, the advantage is completely gone. Now the American fighters are close enough to act instantly if needed. Inside the carrier's CIC, the radar operator follows every movement. MiG-29, altering heading. On the tactical display, the blip begins to shift. At first, it's barely noticeable, a slight adjustment. Then the turn becomes wider. The aircraft is no longer heading toward the strike group, it's turning away. Seconds later, the Su-24 follows. Its heavy wings roll as it banks east. For a brief moment, the F-14 holds its course, its radar still searching for a stable signal. Then it changes direction too. 3 aircraft, all disengaging. Inside the CIC, the tactical officer watches calmly. No emoji, just confirmation. Bandits disengaging. High above the ocean, the Super Hornets maintain position a few seconds longer. They shadow the retreating aircraft just enough to make the message clear. Then the lead pilot finally breaks radio silence. Carrier control, Viper 1, aircraft turning east. Attack profile terminated. The response comes immediately. Copy, Viper 1. Maintain escort until clear. Below, the Iranian formation increases speed slightly, heading back toward a distant coastline far beyond the horizon. The Su-24 climbs higher. The MiG-29 levels out. The F-14 powers down its radar. Inside the strike group, sensors continue tracking long after the aircraft begin to fade from range. Radar signatures are recorded. Electronic frequencies captured. Guidance patterns analyzed. Every detail is stored. Inside the CIC, the tactical officer leans back slightly as the contacts drift toward the edge of the screen. Just minutes earlier, 3 aircraft approached one of the most powerful naval formations in the world in a coordinated attack setup. They activated targeting systems. They launched a missile. They closed within striking distance. But what they leave with is something very different. Their radar profiles mapped, their electronic signals captured, their tactics revealed. Outside, the Arabian Sea returns to quiet. The carrier continues forward, its escorts holding steady formation. Above, the 2 Super Hornets circle once more before turning back toward the ship. The encounter is over. No explosions, no close-range combat, nothing falling from the sky. But somewhere inside U.S. Navy intelligence systems, analysts now have something far more valuable than a simple win. They have a complete electronic fingerprint of the aircraft that challenged them. And the next time those signals appear on radar, the strike group won't be guessing. They'll already know exactly what to expect.